Hello everyone! Welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston subdivision in HO Scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout and your host for episode 9 of season 2023. I want to welcome you to the layout and so happy to have you join us for this video. What you're looking at now is some video I took back in June of 2021 on the Evanston subdivision. I'm going to be going back there in May to get some more video. Hopefully it won't be snowing or anything by then, but looking forward to that. Now, an update on the layout. As you know, I have been working on the mountains there at the Wasatch grade, and I put the paper down, and then this last week I painted white glue on the paper. And I would sum up painting the white glue with one word: messy. It was very, very messy. I think maybe if I diluted the white glue, it would have been a little bit better, although part of the problem with it being so messy is how much it ran. It really didn't soak into the paper at all. It kind of just sat on top, and maybe if I diluted it more, it would have soaked in. But it was pretty messy, and I tried to put it on thick because I wanted it to provide some strength. And here's how it looked after it had dried. It dried clear. By the way, I want to give thanks to my son Timothy, who helped me paint all this. And as you can see, it's very shiny, and it is definitely harder than before the glue is applied. But to be honest with you, I didn't really like the way it turned out. The one thing, it kind of shrunk the paper and pulled it away. I don't know if that just wasn't hot glued well enough, but you could see it kind of curled from the shrinkage. And there were a couple other spots where it had kind of shrunk a little bit. It definitely had a lot of glue running on the side, and I'm going to have to sand that down so that I can still paint it. Here you can see it shrunk a little bit and just didn't set down very good. I was hoping that the glue would, join the seams together, where the two pieces of paper came together, but it really did not do that very well. As you can see, there's a number of places where the seams between the two different pieces of paper, they're not laying down flat. So I wasn't really too thrilled with the way this turned out. This is definitely, to me, is not ready to be painted and adding ground foam and stuff like that. So I'm going to put some plaster gauze on there, and we'll try it again. So stay tuned next week. It'll be looking a lot differently. I kind of changed gears after having that happen. I switched gears to the Westvaco area there, and I built a couple more turnouts. These are the last two turnouts for Westvaco. You can see I kind of laid them all out. I had the chalk lines drawn for where the tracks are going to go. That's in the blue, and I kind of coupled them together and laid them out as straight as I could be. There's a little bit of a curve in this little short section there so that it will all line up. And then once I had that done, then I marked everything as far as where it's supposed to go. You might be able to see the pencil marks in the center line at the ends of the turnouts. And then I just kind of slid. I put some glue on the ties that were glued to paper, and I just kind of slid them underneath the turnouts. You can see that there's some glue on the ground next to it. You can see where I kind of slid it in. But anyway, I slid it in, made sure everything was nice and straight, and then gave that a chance to dry overnight. These are all number 8 turnouts here, by the way. Then today I actually spent some time wiring everything. And one thing I'm going to have to work on a little bit here is you can see the turnout motors when you're just standing in the layout room. This is at eye level. So you can see the bottoms of the turnout motors. Now here I went ahead and stapled all the wires up to the underside of the layout, so the wires look a lot better, but you still have the turnout motor showing. So I'm going to fashion about 1.5 inch wide piece of hardboard that's going to go right in front of, it's going to go back from the fascia and kind of like right up to the turnouts. And I'll probably paint it sky blue so that it looks kind of blends in. And you won't be able to see the turnout motors. All right, so here you can see I do have all the turnouts now screwed or spiked down, I guess you could say, and have the turnout motors installed, everything lined up. You have the 2 mainline tracks, the 2 empties in, loads out tracks, the flood loader track, and then 2 storage tracks. And thought we'd have just a little bit of operation here. We won't see a whole lot of trains running in this update. Stay tuned this week. It's been a while since I've done an overview of the whole layout. So sometime this week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to have a train run across the entire subdivision. And as I go from place to place, I'm going to also include some footage of the prototype through the same area, so you can kind of get an idea of how the whole layout kind of fits all together, and then also, you know, how it is going to fit with the actual prototype Evanston sub, and how hopefully these scenes are going to be modeled. All right, so this is our first time through the new turnouts. I haven't had a chance to file the points yet. So there was a couple of places, didn't have any derailments, but a couple of places where there was a little bit of a bump in the ride. Don't have that quite centered. I'll have to adjust that a little bit. It needs to be to the left a little bit, but we'll go ahead and try it. Now, if you remember, last time I had the switcher working at Westvaco, we had dead spots a lot. So most of the wiring was spent in powering the frogs to the switch motors, the turnout motors, so that when the turnout is thrown away or the one direction or the other, the correct power is routed to the frogs so that you don't have any dead spots. So these turnouts are completely powered all the way through. There's no insulation points. Yeah, we definitely have a lot better operation this time as opposed to last time where we had quite a few dead spots with the frogs being unpowered at the time. All right, this is going to be a flood loader. They mine Trona here, so the workmen have opened up the hatches, and we're going to slow down to about 5 miles an hour here. Someone in the comments mentioned that they thought cars go 5 miles an hour through the flood loader. It might be a little bit slower. I don't know. Maybe slower for Trona as opposed to coal hoppers, because you have a much bigger opening to pour the coal into compared to the troughs here on the covered hoppers. So it may take longer for them to fill up, so they'd have to go through the flood load a little bit slower. But we're doing 5 miles an hour. One thing that someone mentioned too is you have to allow time for them to open the hatches and then also close them back up again. So I'm not sure when exactly they would do that, if they would open the hatches for one car and then close the hatch right away as it goes through, or if they just open the hatches for a string of cars, pull them all through, and then when they're set somewhere, then go back and close them all. I'm not sure how that exactly all operates. But anyway, these cars, 3 cars have been loaded. They're not really operating any particular scheme right here. I'm just kind of switching some cars around to kind of give you an idea how the turnouts work. So we went ahead and threw that switch, and we'll bring her back and put these 3 loaded cars on the storage track. The switcher engine is an MP, MP15 DC by Atlas. Just recently acquired it. So there's going to be a couple of tracks here for storage. I think I'm going to put a tank car loading facility. There is space between the track that we're going into right now and then the track that the tank cars are in. Just to the left of the track where the tank cars are, there's going to be room for, I think, loading platform of some sort. So I'm going to have maybe some facilities there for loading the tank cars. Have a track here for storage. You may put something in here somewhere to unload box cars for supplies, as we use my 050 to uncouple here. So this is Westvaco mine and plant. It's in Wyoming, west or east of Granger, but west of Green River. So far the switches are doing real well. There are a couple places where I know I'm going to have to file the point down a little bit, which is pretty common. Now I'm talking about the point of the frog, not the points of the switch. Those usually are pretty good. It's right there. And you can see there's a little bit of a bump there as the switcher goes through. We'll see it when it comes back. So that point of the frog there, you usually have to file that down so that the transition to the point goes smoothly. All right, we're going to go ahead and pick up these tank cars, put them in the loaded track to be picked up. Just want to make sure all these turnouts work. This is the first time running the switcher over these turnouts. Right, so you can kind of see them jumping down there a little bit. Get a close up here. So that's got to be filed down a little bit so you don't have that little step down from the point to the rail. That's the place that usually needs filing for each turnout. Takes about 20 seconds. Okay, again, I powered all the frogs of all the turnouts. And as you can see, there's no problems with any dead spots. So next week, this coming week, I'm going to get my plaster gauze out and probably put a couple of layers of plaster gauze over the glue that's been painted on the paper. And then for the rest of the scenery, I'll just put the gauze right on, the plaster gauze right on the paper. I'm not going to glue anymore. That's kind of messy. I do not consider that a success. So I'm going to glue some of the things that came up, going to glue it back down, get everything set. I'm going to put all the tunnel abutments in, all the bridges. I did order some bridges, got them in, so I'm going to put them in this week, and then put a bunch of plaster gauze down. So that's what you'll be looking for, the update next week. As I said before, we'll also have a complete run through to give an overview of the layout. So lots to look forward to this week, maybe even a live Friday Freights again. So everybody have a great week, everyone. Take care.